think about homelessness in Missouri?
Mental illness.
It's a problem we should be able to solve.
I don't think it's always by choice.
I think there's a lack of adequate shelter in Missouri.
Missed opportunities. Some folks are homeless because they have missed opportunities, and then they didn't have a safety net.
If it is choice, they've come to that point in their life for some reason or other. They have given up on themselves.
I think what a lot of community people have in their mind in terms of these people is that they're gross, nasty, dirty. Everybody's a criminal. Everybody's a substance abuser. And it couldn't be further from the truth. There are many people here that have just fallen on absolute hardships. They've lost a job, or their home was taken, or their home burnt down. A lot of different variables in regards to homelessness.
What types of demographics do you think are most susceptible to suffer from homelessness?
Unfortunately, ex-addicts are current addicts of substance abuse.
I think it's urban. I think reason because it's a lack of education.
I know it's probably strictly my opinion, but I don't feel like there's any particular age group that it targets. It affects everybody.
Women, unsupported women. There's a lot of homelessness among them. That's pretty much all I think of.
Really, anyone that lives paycheck to paycheck in our economy is susceptible to homelessness, and I think they're more susceptible than they realize.
I think a lot of our young teens, minority, are coming up now in the world, and they've not been properly educated.
Missouri's got a lot of homeless people, and you'd be surprised who you can be homeless in a matter of minutes. Anybody's susceptible to being homeless. We seem to find a lot of families that end up without homes, women with children, and I think it's because of their income being so low they can't continue to manage on what income they are to stay in a house.
I think some people still have a stereotype of a homeless person, so still think of it being an older male, who's an alcoholic. It sort of is the image that sometimes people think of as someone who's homeless. And for years now, the largest growing demographic among the homeless has been families. As parents with children, and typically too, then they're only homeless on a temporary basis. They're not chronically homeless, where they're homeless for months or even years at a time. So there's still some misunderstanding about who exactly is homeless.
You start seeing single people between, I'd say early 20s to even up to 70. And we see women and children, quite a few of them. We have a lot of mental illness people that come here, and we let them stay. I think most people are from small towns that we get. We do get some from the bigger cities, but the big cities has got more to offer them during the day, more places for them to go, and more jobs. And so we don't see a lot of the city people from big city people.
I think in our county, my stereotype that I picture is low income, white family. I hate to say it, I think families with children come to mind.
Yeah, a lot of people think they're lazy or something like that.
A lot of people have the opinion that they could change if they wanted to.
I think a lot of misconceptions is that they're not trying to do anything for themselves.
I think people assume homeless people behave in a certain way.
Well, everybody feels that they're either people that steal or people that are drug addicts, and that's not necessarily so.
There are people that'll go out and pretend that they're homeless, and they stand and work corners and highways and stuff like that.
That they're bad people because they're homeless, or they're homeless because they're drug addicts, or they have criminal records, and I think that's not always the case.
Happen to anyone. It's not, there's a lot of stereotypes with homeless individuals, and you don't know what that person's had to go through to get to where they are. It may have been 2 or 3 different things that just didn't go their way, and they found themselves in a tough situation, and that's how they have to currently live their life. But there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and there are agencies upon agencies who are doing their very best to make sure people have the resources they need to get out of those situations. But I think it's important to remember that they are no different than us, and it could happen to us in any circumstance at any point.
And I think some people still think of homeless people as maybe dangerous because they have a criminal background. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. But, I think overall, they're, no more dangerous than the larger population in general, So, and I think still there's issues around assuming they're not going to be clean or healthy or those kind of things. And so, I think in our community, for the most part, if someone is staying with us and someone was to encounter them out in the community, they wouldn't necessarily know they're homeless because they don't fall into some of those maybe stereotypes that people would have. So,
what do you think is the number one cause of homelessness in Missouri?
In Missouri, that's pretty tough.
I think that they're a product of the failure of our country to deal with people with mental illness.
The number one cause of homelessness in Missouri is not enough jobs.
The system.
That there are generational things that can cause people to be more susceptible to homelessness.
And it goes back to the, I guess the 60s when they decided to let people, they had problems in the insane asylums or what they call homes for people like that. And they decided that they just let them go rather than fix the problems they had.
A lot of people that are homeless are former education. People that have so much education that they could not get a job because the first thing they say is that you're overqualified. Which
multiple factors may be associated with homelessness. The major thing, of course, is extreme poverty, especially if you see recessions and lack of affordable housing. A lot of individuals are going to fall under homelessness. And definitely we can see, substance use may be associated with homelessness. Mental illness are also likely to be associated with homelessness. Sexual orientation, because of all the stigma and also victimization, they're more likely to experience homelessness.
Here at our agency, we specifically serve adults who have mental illness who are also experiencing homelessness or just struggling with housing. So, of course, mental illness would be, a demographic that could affect you being homeless or not being homeless. Just thinking about, maintaining bills, maintaining appointments, kind of all these things that some people is really easy for them, but sometimes other individuals who might have anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, that can be a lot more difficult to do these kind of normal day-to-day tasks. So things, that would obviously be something that could affect someone and make them experience homelessness maybe a little bit more so than others. But then also I just know just from past research and connection with other colleagues, individuals in the LGBTQ community can be at risk of homelessness, especially youth, which is something that occurs, just not being welcomed in their own home sometimes happens.
I think in one sense, we serve a broad population age-wise. We still serve more men than women, but we serve a significant number of women as well. And we do serve children at our family shelter, and so we cover a large span there. Those at risk, I think, are those that not only have economic challenges, they have little to no income, but if they also have something in addition to that. So they have a physical or mental illness or disability that makes it hard for them to work primarily, because even if they have a recognized disability and receive disability payments for that still puts them on a real small fixed income, and puts them at risk. And then if you're homeless too, you're going to be more exposed to the elements and have more stress in your life. So that's just going to really make any kind of physical or mental illness exacerbated. So make that condition worse probably. So. Someone called recently about, adolescents, and that's probably one population that is underserved in our community because, we can't shelter, someone under 18 without a parent or guardian. unless they have legal documents saying they are, independent of their parents. So, sometimes we've heard of students who need a place to stay, but unfortunately we can't, house them with adults. So that's probably the one area that's right now that's kind of missing, in the services.
Have you ever donated money or time or food or anything to help them?
Yeah, my dad actually has a non-for-profit organization he runs here.
Yeah, I've helped, and we spend a lot of time in Columbia.
Yes, I do. I don't give money, but I will give food. I will feed the homeless because a lot of times I don't have money to give. I'm not.
Yeah, all of those. I'm a pastor of a small church, so yeah, we've helped with all of those things.
I always try to help people, make them think, hey, I'm really worth something inside. I have a purpose, I have a need.
A lot of times I don't have money to give, but I can always find you a hamburger, or a hot dog, some chips, or something, soda pop. You can always feed somebody.
We do what we can. We're young, we can't do much, but we do what we can.
What do you think is the best way for like an average, everyday person to benefit the homeless community?
I don't know. I really don't have an answer.
Just get involved with the Habitat for Humanity.
The best way to help the homeless person is not to give them money, not to put them down, but to embrace them with your heart.
Go back to the old saying of give a man a fish, he has a fish. Teach a man how to fish, he has a meal. He has many meals.
Donations. Go through, do your spring cleanings, and don't just give away your scraps. Give away your better stuff.
If you know of a place where they can seek food, show it to them. But then follow up. If you see them on Monday, they need a place to stay, find that person and make sure that they stay on the path, that they don't give up, that they don't throw up both hands and then they end up in a whirlpool of drugs and hopelessness. Just open your heart and educate them, because everybody can help somebody.
So what are the key elements of homelessness? Education, housing, food, family and economic security, and health are major components of poverty and homelessness. People with little education are regulated to low-paying, unsecured jobs, potentially leading to a lifetime of poverty. In 2014, Missouri high schools had a 90% success rate for graduation. That same year, 83% of the population were high school graduates, 44% had completed some college, but only 9% were college graduates. Affordable housing can be difficult to find. Many homeless people seek out shelters for overnight stays. Of the 7,282 homeless Missourians in 2014, over 900 were unsheltered, over 700 were chronically homeless, and over 600 were homeless veterans. People facing poverty and homelessness lack food security, sometimes unsure of where they will find their next meal. 15.2% of Missouri citizens face food insecurity. Additionally, 6.7% have very low food security. Low-wage jobs barely allow a single person to maintain a home. For families, it's even more difficult. 28.3% of all Missouri jobs are considered low-wage, meaning they pay less than 100% of the federal poverty line. Most homeless individuals cannot afford health care and insurance. Because of this, their physical and mental health suffer. In fact, 583,000 Missourians don't have health insurance. People of the highest income group can expect to live 6.5 years longer than someone living in the lowest income group. Although not everyone in poverty experiences homelessness, poverty often leads to homelessness. Of the Missouri population, over 800,000 are below the poverty line. Over 200,000 are children. Over 930,000 Missourians are below the federal poverty line. Only 77,551 adults and children receive temporary assistance for needy families.
Whenever you're ready.
So your name is?
Okay, my real name is Jermaine Williams. My nickname is Kane. I moved here to Columbia, Missouri from Chicago, Illinois. I came here to try to start my life all over, get a job, get myself together and stuff like that. I was working right there at the Broadway Diner, y'all can see. I worked there for a whole year. I was making, I got started out with $10 an hour. After 6 months, I got a raise. Then I was making $15 an hour. I was making real good money. I was making about $500-600 a week. And then I guess he thought I was trying to run his business better than him, so he let me go because he said I was coming over here to the park, hanging out with the homeless people, so he let me go. For no reason. Ain't that something? Now, if I'm working my butt off, now why would he fire me for no reason? Because I was coming over here to the park. After that, after 3 months, I finally found another job at Texas Roadhouse. Then somebody tried to rob me, hit me in my head. I had to get 6 staples in my head. So I lost that job, and here I am.
Well, that's all right. That's a simple story.
I'm still alive, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Telling my story, but I'm a real good guy. I met Ann at the Wabash bus station downtown. I've been with her for about 4 years. So, and we've been just trying to get our lives together and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? She's going through Burrell to try to get her disability going and stuff like that.
And how did you, because you lived in Portland, Missouri before, how did you?
Well, see, I got a learning disability, so I came to Voc Rehab up here to get me a job, and I got a job and everything else and stuff. Then I've been having jobs off and on for all my life. Well, Hardee's about 3-4 years ago let me go after working there for like 10 years. And they fired me, said that I complained too much. I never heard of anybody, you couldn't get me for being late or calling in because I was sick. Because when I called in when I was sick, I had a doctor's excuse behind it. You know what I'm saying? So they couldn't get me for nothing but complaining too much. Well, then I went and got I went and got my unemployment from that and stuff. And I went and got another job, and just these jobs just wasn't panning out right. You know what I'm saying? And then if you don't got no money, you can't pay your bills. So it's kind of hard. If you don't have the money, it's hard, So now I'm just trying to work on trying to get disability, trying to give shelter for ourselves, and just working on.
Do that, ma'am. Is don't stop. Take care of multiple everything. My name's Jonathan Wayne Smith. I've been living with people off and on for 25 years. I've been around a lot of old school people. Some of the drunks with disability, we get to check, pass out, people would take their money. I've always been a trusted guy. We can walk and do this, can't we?
Homeless people are frequently denied basic rights, including voting rights, quality education, access to social services, access to shelter, privacy and property protections, use of public space, and so much more. So how do we legally combat these injustices? The Homeless Bill of Rights offers protection for each of these basic rights. So far, only Rhode Island, Connecticut, Illinois, and California have enacted a Homeless Bill of Rights. Missouri had considered a Homeless Bill of Rights. However, the bill died in 2013.
And, it's a hard way to explain everything,
Mm-hmm.
About best explanation in my category, if you was homeless, then you would learn. A lot of people drink. I quit drinking because my liver was bad. I get mean, fight. So that's why I see in all of them, in some way, or a build-up to do that. Almost like brother or sister in a way, in a form. So, I don't know. A lot of homeless people run. Well, skedaddle is the way to say it. They don't want you to tell nothing about them. Or where they camp. just because you might tell someone.
Sometimes people think that people who are experiencing homelessness just don't know how to budget their money, or just like, you know, kind of it's like all through the fault of their own that they're in this situation, which to a point that's true, right? So we make choices and there's consequences, but once you're experiencing homelessness, it's kind of more difficult than I think some people realize. So say they are working a full-time job and that they're getting decent pay, or maybe they have, you know, disability income, but then think trying to find a place to rent, you have to have your first month's deposit, you have to have your first month and then your safety deposit, and then you have to actually continue to pay utilities after that. And so, you know, usually people who are living in homelessness in some way, sometimes maybe staying at a hotel or just kind of trying to survive, they don't have the funds or money to do that. And then, you know, they say, well, you just need to budget better, but you can't really budget money you don't have. And so I think that's a huge thing, but also too, sometimes getting a job can be difficult, right? So every application that you fill out, you have to put an address.
Homeless individuals are resilient beyond your imagination. I think that being homeless kind of inserts this resilience that many of us will never have to face. It's, you know, again, like being in this state of uncertainty of what's going to be next. Where will I sleep next? Where will I eat next? How will I be able to pay for whatever service? It instills this value of self-resilience and self-reliance, and just a state of overall autonomy that many of us will never have to face in our lives. And I think that that's something that should be recognized beyond just viewing the homeless as kind of like victims of their surroundings. I think we should kind of reframe that narrative and make it so that we view homeless as people with resilient narratives and people who can provide for themselves in the face of terrible institutional failures.
You know, I've been beat up quite a few times.
The Braille is helping me out right now with trying to get my disability, trying to get the homeless, the Shelter Plus, and that's Shelter Plus is where they're trying to help me get a place to live and stuff like that. And I'm gonna be like the head of the household, but I could add him to it, we could get a place to live and all and stuff like that.
What does Shelter Plus do? Like, how do they help you?
Well, it's basically like for low income. It's like Section 8 or low income housing, and so it's all kind of runs together. So Shelter Plus is a good thing because it's for low income housing. For that much, you won't have to pay that much on your rent and stuff like that. So it's really good. It's a really good program. So hopefully I get all that
I think
stuff.
she will get approved because she don't have a criminal background at all.
So
Never been to jail, never been arrested.
So if you do have a criminal background, do they kind of hesitate on
Oh,
doing that?
yeah.
Oh yeah, like we got assault charges and felonies. You ain't gonna get approved.
Yeah, so I'm working on trying to get all that, my disability, my Medicaid, I'm trying to get it all going on and stuff. And people out here thinking, well, oh, they're out here, they must have been doing drugs or something. No, it ain't all about that. People out here, they might drink, or might do this, might do that, but they do it because they're trying to forget their problems. You know what I'm saying?
Question about substance use. I think that you will find a lot of times people are treating other things, their mental illness, their homelessness, trauma. Trauma's a big one.
Yes.
With drugs or alcohol.
You know, because they have to cope with something. So this is how they're coping with it. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, but not always are doing that. We're trying to cope in our own ways. You know, we're trying to get some of them don't know how to get out of the situation. They got to make that step to, how do I get out of this? They don't know how. So they don't know. So the first thing they do is drink or get high or do this or do that.
Right. There's also that question, how do you get in that situation if you can't get out of that situation? That's about like life situation.
So So a lot of it, they don't know how to, they get into it and they don't know how to get out of it. So I'm trying to get out of it, so I found a step to get out of it. Not everybody can find that step, find that way to do that. So everybody has their own problems, their own things, and we're all trying to work on our own problems, try to get out of our bad situations.
Oh my God, living's the problem.
Mhm.
I'm sure we're all in that in some way.
Yeah, everybody's got a problem. We just got to know how to cope with your own problems and try to get out of your own problems.
Well, it's hard to deal with your problems when other people's problems, you help them with their problems. You think of more of helping them with their problems instead of your own problems.
Yeah, but my thing is first you got to work on yourself then before you can help somebody else. I mean, if you can help other people out, but if they don't want the help, then you can't help them. Some people you can help, some people you can't.
It's funny. Very funny.
Entertaining.
That's a good. It is. I think
Too ugly to prostitute.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things that happens in downtown Columbia is the panhandlers. There's one gentleman that I have known for years. And my husband and I were leaving Pizza Tree after having a nice pizza one night, and he walks up to us and says, I'm looking for some change or just anything. You could smell the alcohol. And my Tyler reached in his pocket, pulled out a wad of coins and a dollar bill or two, and the guy said, I promise I won't use it to get alcohol. Tyler just handed it to him. He says, I don't care what you do with it. If it helps you through the night, it's yours. I was amazed, frankly, because,
Because there's what one weekend I made some good money just flying a sign. Just, because I have another sign that says, anything's a blessing. You know what I'm saying? Because anything is a blessing, because if I get a roof over my head, that's a blessing. If I get $5, that's a blessing to me, because that's $5 more than I didn't have. Because not like I said, we don't always go out there.
You said like whenever you do have special
Like
events?
true and false festivals.
Yeah.
See, it's legal to fly signs downtown.
Oh, really?
After sun up and before sundown. But they don't want you doing it like on the highway ramps and stuff like that. Because they don't want you doing that.
I think someone was saying to me that MoDOT really don't care. It's MoDOT. MoDOT's the ones that do the ramps. They don't really care, but the cops go after you. They'll give you a ticket or they put you in jail. And all they're trying to do is get some money to eat or get a roof over their head. They're not really doing nothing wrong, you know what I'm saying? They're just trying to make it just like everybody else is. And they just don't see it that way. They're trying to get rid of the homeless. Well, homeless is going to be around until the end of time, probably. So, won't you help them? Won't you help them with something? Help them get a room for a night. You know what I'm saying? Or help them, give them some money. Or, you know what I'm saying? Just because they take the money doesn't mean they're going to do drugs.
So, we don't have a lot of shelters options available. We have one shelter that kind of serves everyone. They can serve families with children and also just individuals, but of course that's a limited space, and that's one shelter for our entire community. And then there's other shelters, but they're more limited and specific, maybe just women, just men, or just transitional housing. So, I think it could also be a community effort of saying, hey, we care about these individuals as well. Let's have more options available. And I think it really could come down to, citizens choosing to voice their, opinions about it and saying we want more in our community, but also volunteering too.
In your community, become involved with homeless serving agencies. Get involved with that sort of activity. I know Fulton has a homeless shelter. They're always looking for people to staff that. Just to give a couple of hours in the evening to help check people in.
Personally, I'm coming from a bit of a unique perspective because I used to live and work in Boston, like right next to our, we had a clinic called Boston Healthcare for the Homeless. which is by far one of the best programs in the nation in terms of working with the homeless population. So coming from that and just seeing some of the resources that Boston had available for their homeless population comparing to the city of Columbia, the state of Missouri, there's quite a disparity there.
And if you guys, if we can help you on anything, just let us know, and call, because I can't call you, but you can call me.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
We'll be back